Welcome, dear listener, to the quiet heart of the Lotus Whisper. The night unfolds like a vast, dark lotus, its silence deep and unconditional. We settle now into this quietude, releasing the day's scattered edges and gathering ourselves back toward the center. Tonight, we listen not for answers, but for the sound of what is already whole. We seek the wisdom that resides just beneath the surface of striving, the effortless truth that guides the moon and the tide. Let the mind become a still pond, reflecting the luminous, unhurried stars. We begin our journey by simply noticing the weight of the moment and the gentle invitation toward surrender. The illusion of the steering wheel. We begin by recognizing the phantom grip. Feel the subtle, almost imperceptible tension that still lingers in the hands, the arms, and the shoulders, the residue of a long day spent trying to hold the world in place. This is the illusion of the steering wheel, the deeply ingrained habit of believing that if we relax our grasp for even a moment, the entire vessel of our life will veer catastrophically off course. Notice the quality of this grip. It is not a fierce, active clench, but a low-grade, constant readiness, a preparedness for the next correction, the next adjustment, the next necessary act of control. Allow your awareness to settle entirely upon your hands, wherever they rest now. Observe the subtle hardening of the muscles in the forearms, the way the tendons feel slightly taut, like guitar strings tuned just a half step too high. Even in rest, the fingers may still curve inward slightly, maintaining the ghost shape of the thing they were trying to manage: the phone, the pen, the worry, the schedule. Focus now on the knuckles. Feel the slight pressure where the skin stretches over the bone, evidence of the small, persistent effort to keep things contained. Imagine the skin of your hands softening, relaxing its hold not only on the physical world, but on the mental one. Imagine the energy that has been flowing into these muscles, sustaining this subtle tension, now being gently redirected, allowed to flow downward, dissolving into the earth beneath you. The tension often pools first in the jaw. Locate the muscles that hinge your jaw shut. For many hours, these muscles have been bracing, perhaps tightening against unspoken words, against frustration, or against the sheer effort of thinking. Notice if your teeth are lightly touching, or perhaps even pressing against each other. This is the body's way of saying, "I must hold firm." Now, introduce a small, deliberate slackness. Let the jaw grow heavy. Allow the tongue to drop away from the roof of the mouth, creating a small, dark cavern of space inside. The weight of the jaw is a surrender. It is heavy, cumbersome, and entirely willing to let go. Feel the warmth of relaxation begin to spread across the cheeks, softening the lines that run from the nose to the corners of the mouth. This physical holding is mirrored in the brow. Feel the subtle, low furrow between the eyebrows, the small knot of muscle that attempts to concentrate and solve every problem simultaneously. It is the signature of the worried strategist. Observe the sensation of this tightness, perhaps a faint, dull ache, or simply a persistent pressure. Now, imagine a warm, heavy cloth being laid across your forehead. The skin begins to smooth, to unfurl, like a tightly rolled scroll finally being laid flat. The tension melts outward, away from the center, moving toward the temples and dissolving into the night air. The eyes, too, can surrender. Let them sink slightly deeper into their sockets, no longer needing to scan, to judge, or to anticipate. They are allowed to simply rest in the darkness. This pervasive tension, this continuous effort to grip the steering wheel, stems from the deep-seated, but ultimately illusory belief that we are the sole drivers of existence. We cling to the idea that our will is the primary force, forgetting that we are also passengers, carried by currents far vaster than our immediate understanding. Shift your focus now, moving beyond the confines of your body, and look outward into the vast, indifferent movement of the night. Even if your eyes are closed, visualize the sky above you. It is immense, black velvet, stretching infinitely outward, utterly unconcerned with the small, persistent anxieties of your day. High above, the clouds are drifting. They are not striving. They are not pushing themselves forward with great effort. They are simply being carried. Watch, in your mind's eye, the slow, inevitable movement of a large, pale cloud passing across the face of the moon. This movement is the purest example of effortless effort. The cloud exerts no energy. It is moved by forces that dwarf human striving, the great, sweeping currents of the upper atmosphere. Notice the edges of the cloud. They are soft, indistinct, constantly changing shape, dissolving and reforming without resistance. They do not cling to their form. A cloud does not panic when its shape begins to dissipate. It simply allows the wind to tear its edges and reshape its mass. It offers no resistance to the force that carries it. This non-resistance is the very essence of its movement. It is the epitome of being carried. Imagine yourself as that cloud. For a moment, release the heavy density of being a fixed, solid, problem-solving entity. Allow yourself to become diffuse, light, and entirely yielding. The worries that you are trying so hard to steer, the anxieties about tomorrow, the regrets about yesterday, these are the small, fleeting details on the surface of the cloud. The vast, underlying current of life continues to move you forward, regardless of the shapes you momentarily assume. The greatest forces in nature operate without striving. The moon does not strain to pull the tide, the gravity simply is. The river does not sweat to reach the sea. It simply follows the path of least resistance, drawn by the slope of the land. The stars do not ignite themselves with conscious effort. They simply burn, fulfilling their nature. Your life, too, is carried by this vast, effortless momentum. Return your awareness to the tension in your hands. The knuckles are still slightly white, still holding the ghost wheel. This phantom grip is exhausting. It drains the reserves of your spirit, forcing you to maintain a vigilance that is unnecessary in this moment of rest. Let us practice the counteraction, the release. Begin with the index finger of your dominant hand. Focus intensely on the subtle muscles controlling that finger. For a moment, tighten it just slightly more, acknowledging the power you have to clench. Feel the effort. Now, slowly, incrementally, release that effort. Imagine the tension flowing out of the fingertip, like sand escaping through a small hole. Let the finger become heavy, limp, utterly indifferent to the need to hold. Now, move to the middle finger. It is usually the longest, often the strongest. Feel the deep connection of its tendon into your wrist. Breathe into it. As you exhale, release the middle finger completely. It is not necessary for it to be straight. It only needs to be soft. Feel the warmth of the blood returning to the surface, the subtle tingling sensation of release beginning to spread. The ring finger, often linked to the core of the hand, the finger of commitment. Release the ring finger. Let it soften. Let it sink. It is giving up its duty to hold. It is choosing rest over readiness. Finally, the pinky finger. The smallest, sometimes the last to let go. Allow this finger to relax completely. Now examine the palm. Is it still concave, ready to cup and contain? Allow the palm to flatten, to spread open, facing upward in an attitude of complete receptivity. The open palm is the antidote to the clenched fist. It says, I am not steering, I am receiving. Repeat this process with the other hand, slowly, finger by finger. Index finger, middle finger, ring finger, pinky finger. Feel the collective weight of both hands now sinking into whatever surface supports them. They are heavy, warm, and entirely relinquished. The steering wheel is gone. The phantom vehicle is parked. You are simply here, resting, being carried. This observation of the body's desire to control leads us to the most vital, yet often most micromanaged aspect of our existence: the breath. The mind, when gripped by the illusion of control, tries even to steer the breath. We try to force it deeper, to hold it longer, to make it perfectly quiet. But the breath, like the cloud, operates on its own vast, effortless current. You cannot truly control the next inhale, you can only observe its arrival. Turn your attention inward now, to the simple mechanical movement of your own respiration. Do not change anything. Do not try to breathe better. Simply watch. Feel the air entering your nostrils. Is it cool, dry, or slightly moist? Follow that current down the back of your throat and into your lungs. Notice the expansion. Is it a rising of the chest, a gentle swell of the belly, or both? The inhale is the universe delivering sustenance to you, an act of pure generosity. You do not have to fight for it. It arrives unbidden, a gift of the moment. This arriving is effortless. Now, observe the pause, the brief moment of stillness at the top of the breath. And then, the exhale. The exhale is the ultimate release. It is the letting go of what is no longer needed. Feel the weight of the air leaving your body. As the air flows out, allow your shoulders to drop an extra fraction of an inch. Allow the weight of your entire torso to sink heavily into your support. The exhale is the moment we practice surrender. If the mind tries to grab the steering wheel of the breath, trying to dictate the exact depth or speed, gently notice that attempt. Acknowledge it without judgment. The mind is attempting to control the breath, just as it attempted to control the day. Then, offer the mind this simple instruction. Just watch the arrival. Watch the next inhale arrive entirely on its own schedule. It does not need your permission or your effort. It simply begins. It swells. It pauses. And then, watch the exhale begin its slow, downward journey. This downward movement is heavy, calming, and deeply releasing. In the Zen tradition, there is a saying, "The master is not the one who holds the reins, but the one who observes the horse." You are not the master of the breath, you are the observer of the breath. Imagine the breath as a vast, slow-moving river. When you try to control it, you are like a small child standing on the bank, trying to push the entire current upstream with a tiny stick. It is futile, and it is exhausting. The river simply flows around the stick and continues its path. Allow your stick, your striving mind, to drop into the water. Let it be carried away. You are now simply sitting on the bank, watching the inevitable, powerful, and entirely effortless flow. With every exhale, feel the tension dissolving from the core of your body. The muscles around the ribs, which have been holding a posture of vigilance, are now softening. The diaphragm, the great dome of muscle responsible for the breath, is finding its natural, rhythmic ease. The truth is that we only ever truly control one thing, where we place our attention. We cannot control the outcome of our efforts, the actions of others, or the inevitable unfolding of time. But we can choose whether we place our attention on the phantom steering wheel or on the effortless movement of the clouds and the breath. Let the rhythmic cycle of the breath become your anchor to the present moment, a continuous, gentle reminder that you are being carried. Inhale, receiving. Exhale, releasing the need to steer. As you continue to breathe, allow the feeling of heaviness to deepen in your body. The hands are heavy, the jaw is heavy, the shoulders are heavy. This weight is not a burden, it is the comforting weight of gravity, the unconditional support of the earth. You do not need to hold yourself up. You are already held. The illusion of the steering wheel begins to fade now. The image of the tight, white knuckles is replaced by the soft, open palm. The furrowed brow is replaced by the smooth, cool forehead. The anxious, racing thoughts about management and control are replaced by the simple, profound observation of what is. Rest in this observation. Rest in the knowledge that the greatest effort is often found in the refusal to let go. True strength lies in the willingness to be carried. Let the night carry you now, effortlessly, securely, towards stillness. Continue to watch the breath arrive and depart, a slow, gentle tide washing away the last traces of striving. You are not driving, you are simply drifting. And in this drift, there is perfect safety. The river's unstoppable path. Settle now into the quiet weight of your own body. Feel the surface beneath you offering its complete support, asking nothing in return. Allow the small, tight knots of the day, the lingering residue of hurried tasks and future anxieties, to simply rest where they are. We will not try to undo them with force, but with the gentle, persistent wisdom of the water. Draw your awareness away from the internal rush and guide it outward, toward the sound of a slow, meandering river. It is not a torrent, nor a crashing waterfall, but a steady, deep current moving through a valley floor, surrounded by ancient, smooth stones. Listen closely. The sound is a low, continuous thrum, a resonant hum that vibrates just beneath the threshold of hearing, overlaid by the delicate, crystalline tinkle of water finding its way around small pebbles. Imagine you are seated right at the river's edge. The air here is heavy with moisture, clean and cool against your skin. This is the cool mist rising from the water's surface, a fine, invisible veil that touches your cheeks and forehead with a refreshing dampness. Breathe in this damp, earthy scent, the smell of wet moss, decaying leaves, and pure, cold water. Let the coolness of the air enter your lungs, and let the warmth of your breath dissipate back into the cool, dark air. The river moves with an unparalleled grace. It possesses no urgency, yet it never stops. Watch the surface, where the light, even in this dim, reflective space, catches the slow, swirling eddies. The water is deep, a murky emerald green near the center, fading to a clear, pale amber closer to the bank where the current slows. Notice the way the surface tension breaks and reforms, a constant, seamless tapestry of motion. Listen to the specific sounds the water makes as it interacts with the land. There is the soft shush, where the current sweeps across a patch of fine, dark sand, a sound like a silk garment being drawn slowly across a floor. Then there is the more defined, rounded clack and gurgle as the main body of water nudges and rolls larger, submerged stones. These stones have been polished smooth over centuries, their surfaces worn down by the ceaseless, patient friction of the water. They offer resistance, but the river does not engage in struggle, it simply incorporates the obstacle into its path. Focus your inner eye on a massive, dark granite boulder that juts halfway into the stream. It is an immovable force, rooted deep in the earth. If you were walking, you would have to climb over it, expending effort and breath. But the river does not climb. It divides. The current flows up to the hard face of the stone, hesitates for a moment, and then, with absolute acceptance, separates into two distinct streams. The water curves around the boulder's left side, creating a powerful, smooth sweep, and around the right, forming a quieter, back-flowing eddy. Feel the deep lesson held within this interaction. The river never tries to become a bulldozer. It never attempts to force the granite to move. The energy that might have been wasted in futile pushing is instead converted into the graceful, fluid energy of adaptation. The river is simply seeking the path of least resistance, the lowest point, the clearest route to the sea. It understands that its true nature is movement, not control. Think now of the places in your own life where you are trying to push water uphill. Identify the specific anxieties, the need to control outcomes, the desire to dictate the actions of others, the internal struggle to force a moment to be different than it is. These attempts at control require immense, draining energy. They create the tension you feel now in your shoulders, in your jaw, in the tightness around your heart. Imagine taking one of those worries, perhaps the sharp, insistent thought about tomorrow's meeting, or the persistent replay of yesterday's difficult conversation, and visualizing it as a piece of dry, brittle wood. It is heavy in your hand, cumbersome and angular. Now, gently, extend your hand over the flowing water and release it. Watch as the current immediately receives this worry. The water does not judge the shape of the wood nor its weight. It simply accepts it into the flow. The branch might spin once or twice in an eddy, catching the light briefly, but then the steady, deep pull of the current takes hold, and the wood begins to drift downstream. It moves away from the place where you released it, diminishing in size as it travels further down the river's path. Let this feeling of release sink into your body. Recognize the sensation of not holding on. This is the tactile experience of surrender. Not defeat, but the intelligent realization that some things are not yours to carry, and certainly not yours to force. Now, we will introduce a finer, more numerous type of debris, your daily, distracting thoughts. These are not the heavy worries, but the constant, buzzing mental chatter. The grocery list, the fragment of a song, the sudden, random memory. Visualize these thoughts as small, curled autumn leaves, brown and weightless. They float easily on the surface. As you breathe in, notice the thoughts that arise. As you breathe out, gently place that leaf onto the river's surface. Inhale. A thought of responsibility arises. Exhale. The leaf touches the water. Inhale. A fleeting judgment appears. Exhale. The leaf is carried away. Observe how the river handles these thousands of leaves. It does not stop for any one of them. It does not try to organize them or sort them. They become part of the surface texture, moving with the speed and rhythm of the flow. They are present, yet they do not impede the river's journey. The river remains the river, regardless of the debris it carries. Let the sound of the water become the primary focus again. That ceaseless, soft lapping against the shore. It is a sound of complete acceptance. The river accepts the rain that swells it, the drought that shrinks it, the mud that clouds it, and the sun that warms it. It is always changing, yet always remaining true to its nature as flowing water. Feel the coolness of the air and the sound of the flow beginning to wrap around your anxieties like a blanket of mist. The sharp edges of your worries begin to soften, blurred by the continuous movement. The river's current is slow, so slow that watching it requires patience. And this patience begins to seep into your own internal rhythm. Notice the subtle shift in your breath. It has become deeper, more abdominal. The inhalation is a slow expansion, like the river widening slightly in a calm pool. The exhalation is a complete release, like the water pouring over a smooth, low sill. There is no need to control the breath. Simply allow it to flow, mirroring the river's rhythm. The river never hurries. If there is a narrow passage, the water speeds up naturally without effort. If there is a wide, shallow expanse, it slows down, spreading out to absorb the sun's warmth. This is the perfect metaphor for your own energy. When life requires swift action, the energy flows strongly. When life requires rest and reflection, the energy spreads out, deepens, and slows. The key is allowing the flow to dictate the speed, rather than trying to force a constant, unsustainable pace. Imagine the absolute weightlessness of the water itself. There is no muscle tension in the current, it is pure fluidity. Now, compare that to the tension you might be holding in your shoulders or your lower back. As you listen to the steady, gentle rush of the stream, imagine that tension dissolving, not through effort, but through fluidity. Let the muscles soften and become yielding, like the water that bends around the stone. The river teaches us that obstacles are not roadblocks, but simply features of the landscape. The large boulder is not an enemy. It is the reason the water sounds the way it does right there. It creates the specific music of that moment. Your own challenges and difficulties are the boulders in your life. They shape your path, they deepen your character, and they force you to find a more creative, yielding way forward. They are not mistakes. They are the necessary architecture of your journey. Rest now in the deep, resonant stillness that the continuous sound creates. It is a paradox. The movement of the water is constant, yet, because it is so uniform, so utterly predictable in its ceaselessness, the mind finds nothing left to analyze or anticipate. The sound becomes a drone, a meditative anchor that allows the internal chatter to subside. Allow the sound of the running water to draw out the last vestiges of resistance. Hear the low, comforting purr of the current moving over the riverbed. Feel the cool mist settle over your forehead, easing the tension that often gathers there. Every inhalation is a fresh drawing in of this cool, clear air. Every exhalation is the soft release of stagnant energy, carried away effortlessly by the stream. You are the river now. You are not the debris floating on the surface, nor the stones that offer resistance. You are the continuous, persistent, and accepting flow. You do not need to fight gravity or force the direction. You simply yield to the downward pull, trusting that the path unfolds perfectly, moment by moment. The anxiety of control has given way to the deep, initial stillness of acceptance. The body is heavier, the mind is quieter, and the sound of the running water is the only truth that remains. You are flowing, and in this flow, you are perfectly at rest. We settle now into the sacred geometry of the moment, drawing the deep, quiet darkness around us like a comforting shawl. Let the tension that gathered in the day begin to dissolve from the shoulders, the jaw, the small, rigid places where worry often hides. This space is offered for rest, a sanctuary built not of stone and wood, but of stillness and acceptance. We have acknowledged the fear of instability, the anxious tremor of the mind that seeks certainty where none exists. Now, we turn our attention upward, toward the vast, untamed element of air. We will listen for the wind, that tireless messenger of change, and in its unpredictable movement, we will find the secret to true, effortless peace. Release the need to hold fast and prepare to be carried. The unpredictable wind and the empty sail. The world outside the sanctuary of our awareness is governed by forces far greater than the small, frantic efforts of the ego. Having settled the body and anchored the mind in the quiet earth beneath, we now lift our focus to the breath, the invisible current of life that moves ceaselessly within us. We are seeking the wind. Listen closely, not just with the ears, but with the entire surface of your back, skin. Imagine you are standing upon a high, desolate plain where the sky is enormous and the horizon stretches so far that it seems to curve away from sight. There is nothing to impede the flow of the atmosphere, only the vast, deep silence of space ready to be filled by movement. The wind begins as the faintest suggestion, a cool, barely perceptible pressure against the cheek. It is not a sudden gust, but the slow, inevitable shifting of massive air masses. It starts with a sound like the distant murmur of the sea, a deep, continuous drone that seems to be humming just beneath the threshold of hearing. Feel that subtle chill as it brushes the nape of your neck, carrying with it the scent of open space and high altitudes. This is the nature of the uncontrollable. The wind does not ask permission. It does not wait for our readiness. It simply moves, following its own ancient, complex pathways of pressure and temperature. And in this movement, we find our first lesson in profound surrender. Let the sound of this approaching wind become louder, closer. It is a slow, steady increase, like the rising tide of sound. Now, imagine a stand of ancient pine trees at the edge of the plain. These are not soft, deciduous trees, but stoic evergreens, their needles dense and sharp. As the wind reaches them, the sound shifts entirely. It becomes a sustained, relentless shh, a continuous whisper, thousands upon thousands of tiny, stiff needles rubbing against the air, creating a sound that is both abrasive and intensely smoothing. This sound has no beginning and no end. It is simply constant presence. It washes over the mind, demanding attention, yet offering nothing to grasp onto. It is pure, fluid motion. Focus on the sound of the wind moving through the pine needles. It is a sound that cannot be hurried or slowed by your will. It is the sound of nature's perfect indifference to your plans. Allow this sound to enter the deepest chambers of your ears, smoothing out the jagged edges of any remaining thought. The shh, shh, shh is a natural mantra, a reminder that effort is unnecessary. Now, bring your awareness to the breath, the internal wind. Do not change it. Do not deepen it. Just listen to the soft, subtle sound it makes as it moves through your nasal passages. The air entering is cool. The air leaving is warm. This internal current is the closest physical analogy to the external, unpredictable wind. The anxiety of control often manifests in the breath. We subconsciously hold it, restrict it, or try to force it into a pattern we deem correct. But the wind does not force itself. It flows. Let your breath synchronize with the imagined wind moving across the plain. When the wind outside feels strong and sweeping, let your inhalation be wide and effortless, filling the lungs completely, not by straining, but by simply opening the sail. When the external wind seems to sigh and fade, allow the exhalation to be long, slow, and complete, a natural emptying, a release of all pressure. The inhale is the gust, the exhale is the release. You are not doing the breathing, you are merely witnessing the flow of air, the same invisible element that moves the clouds and rustles the pines. Feel the sensation of the air entering the body. It is a cool, vital energy that travels down the throat, expands the ribcage, and settles gently into the belly. Track its journey with meticulous care. Do not rush the entry. The air arrives when it is ready, and not a moment sooner. It penetrates the tissues, nourishes the blood, and then waits for the perfect moment of reversal. The pause at the top of the breath is not a hold, but a brief moment of absolute fullness, a quiet peak before the descent. Then, the exhalation begins, a slow, warm, heavy release. Imagine the air carrying away every particle of tension, every stray thought, every rigid expectation. The exhalation is the sound of the wind sweeping across a vast, empty expanse, leaving nothing behind but silence. Return to the image of the open plain and the unstoppable wind. This wind is the perfect symbol of life's circumstances. It is change itself. We spend so much energy trying to build walls against it, trying to predict its direction, or desperately attempting to generate our own meager breeze when the air is still. This effort is the source of our exhaustion. Consider the metaphor of the ship with the empty sail. Imagine you are aboard a small vessel on a wide blue ocean. The sea is calm, reflecting the vast, indifferent sky. For a time, you attempt to row. You grip the oars tightly, muscles straining, heart pounding, trying to force the boat forward through sheer willpower. The boat moves only in small, jerky increments, and you are quickly depleted. This is the struggle of control, the attempt to row through life's circumstances. Now you stop. You lay the oars down gently on the deck. The noise of your effort ceases. You lift your gaze to the towering mast and the canvas sail, now hanging loose and empty. The emptiness of the sail is not a deficiency, it is a profound readiness. The sail holds no tension, no expectation. It is purely receptive. It understands that movement does not come from its own power, but from the power of the wind that is already present. You cannot command the wind to blow from the north or the south. You cannot dictate its speed or its duration. But you can do one thing, and this is the entire secret to navigating life with grace. You can adjust the sail. You adjust the sail by letting go of the need to row. You adjust the sail by shifting your angle of resistance. You adjust the sail by accepting the current force, whatever its direction, and allowing it to move you. Feel your body now as this ship. The weight of your limbs, the solid structure of your frame, rests upon the bed or the floor, the vast, supportive ocean beneath you. Your lungs are the empty sail. Stop rowing. Release the small, tight grip you have on your breath. Allow the wind of life to fill the sail effortlessly. As you inhale, feel the canvas balloon out, catching the unseen force. The chest expands, not through strain, but through reception. The breath arrives, and the ship moves forward, silently, smoothly. As you exhale, the sail relaxes, the tension dissipates, and the ship glides on the momentum already gained. The movement is continuous, powered entirely by an external force that you have chosen to cooperate with. We often mistake resistance for strength. We believe that if we fight hard enough, we can dictate the outcome. But true strength is found in the flexibility of the sail, the willingness to pivot, the radical acceptance of the prevailing condition. Let the sound of the wind return now, stronger, more enveloping. It is no longer just a hiss through pine needles, it is a deep, resonant roar as it crosses the open water of the imagined ocean. This sound is powerful, yet non-threatening. It is simply the sound of immense energy in motion. Inhale slowly, deeply, but passively. Let the air draw itself in, as if a vacuum is being created within the body, pulling the atmosphere toward it. The breath is not something you take, it is something that is given. Exhale fully, completely. Push nothing out, but simply release the muscular tension that holds the air inside. Let the emptiness of the lungs be as satisfying as the fullness. This emptying is the moment of greatest surrender. It is the moment where the sail goes slack, ready for the next spontaneous gust. The mind, like the ship's captain, is accustomed to issuing commands. It wants to steer, to plot, to correct the course every moment. But the deeper you sink into this state of surrender, the more the captain realizes that their primary job is not to generate power, but to maintain alignment with the power that already exists. Let the thoughts that arise be like small, distant waves on the ocean. They are movement, but they do not affect the vast, deep current carrying the ship. Do not try to stop them, nor try to follow them. Simply let them pass beneath the hull. Return always to the feeling of the breath, the gentle filling and emptying of the sail. If you find yourself trying to force the breath, if you are rowing again, gently lay down the imaginary oars. Notice the tension in the diaphragm, the tightness in the throat. Relax those muscles completely. Say to yourself quietly, I am not the source of this power, I am only the receiver. This wind is ceaseless, it is infinite. You can trust it to keep blowing. You can trust your body to keep breathing. The moment you release the need to manage the process manages itself with perfect, effortless efficiency. Feel the deep relaxation that comes from realizing the illusion of control. The effort you were expending to row the boat has vanished. That energy is now free, available for rest, available for healing. Imagine the wind now, carrying the scent of the sea, cool salt, vast openness, and the deep, dark promise of the horizon. The ship is moving faster now, not because you are rowing harder, but because the sail is perfectly adjusted, catching the full force of the inevitable wind. Let the rhythmic sound of your breath become indistinguishable from the sound of the wind passing over the water. Inhale, a slow, rising wave of sound. Exhale, a long, sustained sigh of acceptance. This is the freedom of the empty sail. It is the understanding that true power lies not in controlling the external world, but in aligning the internal self with the reality of change. When we stop fighting the flow, we become the flow. Allow the relaxation to deepen its hold on your body. The muscles of your face are slack. The tongue rests heavy in the mouth. The hands are loose, the fingers slightly curled, having released the grip on the imaginary oars. You are being carried. The journey is effortless. The destination is rest. With every outbreath, imagine the wind is sweeping away all the small, sharp details of your day. The worries about tomorrow, the regrets of yesterday, they are merely dust particles lifted and dispersed by the immense cleansing current of the air. Inhale the stillness. Exhale the resistance. The wind is a gift. It is pure, vital, spontaneous energy. It reminds us that life is always in motion and that our greatest peace is found not in seeking a static harbor, but in learning to dance with the changing currents. Focus now solely on the feeling of the breath entering and leaving the nostrils. The air is slightly cooler on the way in, slightly warmer on the way out. This tiny, continuous sensation is the anchor that holds you to the present moment, the only moment where the wind actually blows. If the mind begins to drift, do not judge it. That is simply the nature of the mind, like a flag fluttering in the breeze. Gently, without effort, bring the attention back to the breath, back to the silent, effortless movement of the empty sail. We are drifting now into a deeper, more profound state of relaxation. The ship is gliding smoothly. The only sound is the vast, encompassing whisper of the wind, urging you towards stillness. Trust the current. Trust the air. Trust the process. Let go of the rudder. Let go of the map. There is nowhere to go but here. There is nothing to do but breathe. Allow the wind to carry you now, gently, inevitably, toward the vast, dark, peaceful ocean of sleep. You are safe. You are held. You are moving with grace. Simply breathe. Simply be. The wind takes care of the rest. The empty cup, releasing expectations. We settle now into the deep, quiet heart of the evening, allowing the world outside to dissolve like mist before the rising sun. Feel the gentle weight of your own body upon the cushion or the mattress, an anchor in the vast, still sea of night. Tonight, we turn our attention toward the subtle tyranny of expectation, the way we try to grasp and shape the future before it even arrives. True peace often hides not in control, but in release. We seek the profound freedom found in letting go of what must happen, and instead, embracing the perfect stillness of what is. Breathe in the wisdom of acceptance, and exhale the tension of anticipation. Let us prepare the vessel of the mind to be truly receptive, clean, and empty. The empty cup, releasing expectations. The air around us is cool and gentle, carrying the faintest scent of dry earth and old wood. Imagine yourself seated now in a small, simple tea house, a place where the walls are made of thin paper screens and the floor is covered in woven straw mats. The light is soft, filtered through the delicate paper, illuminating only the space immediately around you. You are facing a master whose presence is quiet and unassuming, yet holds a depth that seems to absorb all sound. Before the master rests a small, dark wooden tray. Upon this tray sits a single ceramic cup. This cup is the focus of our attention, a humble vessel that holds a profound lesson. Take a moment and simply look at it. Observe the color of the ceramic. It is not bright or elaborate, but a muted, earthy tone, perhaps a deep moss green or the soft, matte gray of river stone. The surface is not perfectly smooth. If you could run your finger along it, you would feel the slight, subtle imperfections left by the potter's hand, the tiny ridges and valleys that speak of its creation. These imperfections are not flaws, but markers of authenticity, reminding us that nothing in this world is perfectly uniform, nor should it be. The cup is utterly still. It holds no anticipation, no regret. It simply is. It is empty. Feel the deep peace of that emptiness. The cup is waiting, but it is not impatient. It does not demand to be filled. It rests in a state of pure potential, a silent invitation. The master begins to speak, his voice low and resonant, like the gentle vibration of a single temple bell struck softly. He tells the ancient story of the professor, a man renowned for his knowledge, who came seeking Zen instruction. This professor was brilliant, articulate, and overflowing with theories and facts about the nature of reality, the history of philosophy, and the intricate paths of spiritual practice. The master listened patiently to the professor's lengthy discourse, allowing the torrent of words to flow and dissipate into the quiet room. The professor spoke of his studies, his insights, and his expectations for what the master would teach him next. He spoke of the precise structure of enlightenment he hoped to achieve and the schedule he had set for his own spiritual advancement. Finally, the master signaled for tea. He picked up a heavy, dark iron teapot, its surface rough and warm. The master poured the clear amber liquid into a cup. Now, visualize this action with exquisite slowness. The tea flows in a steady, thin stream. It begins to fill the empty space. You hear the delicate, whispering sound of the liquid meeting the ceramic bottom, a small, soft chime of arrival. The tea rises slowly, steadily, up the curved inner walls of the cup. It passes the halfway mark. It reaches the brim, and then the master does not stop. He continues to pour. The tea begins to spill over the edge of the cup. It flows down the sides, running across the wooden tray, soaking the cloth beneath and dripping onto the woven mat. The rich, warm liquid pools and spreads, wasting the precious tea. The professor, aghast, finally interrupts, his voice sharp with surprise and frustration. "Stop, master! It is overflowing. The cup is full. Nothing more can possibly go in." The master sets down the teapot, his movements unhurried and calm. He looks directly at the agitated professor, his gaze clear and deep. "You are exactly like this cup," the master says softly. "You come to me full of your own opinions, your own expectations, your own understanding. If your cup is already overflowing, how can I possibly pour new wisdom into you?" Take that image into your mind now, the overflowing cup. It is a perfect metaphor for the anxious mind. When we are preoccupied with expectation, when we cling tightly to the idea of how the next moment must unfold, how the next breath must feel, or how our sleep must be, we are like that full cup. We leave no room for the present moment to simply arrive, clean and unburdened. We try to force the new moment into the already crowded space of our preconceived notions. This evening, we are not trying to fill the cup of the mind. We are simply emptying it. We are releasing the expectation of what happens next. Let your body sink deeper into its support. Feel the comforting pressure beneath you, the gentle embrace of the earth. Now, focus entirely on the cool, still, empty ceramic cup resting on the tray before you. We will use this image as our anchor for release. Imagine reaching out and gently touching the cup. Feel the slightly rough texture of the unglazed rim, the part where the potter finished his work. Notice the smooth, cool slip of the glaze covering the rest of the body. The temperature of the ceramic is lower than your skin, drawing a small amount of heat away, grounding you in the present reality of touch. This cup is empty of tea, and we aim to be empty of tomorrow. Let us begin by releasing the expectations we hold for the next 5 minutes. We often come to rest with a hidden agenda. I must fall asleep immediately. I must clear my mind perfectly. This relaxation must be deep and complete. These thoughts are the tea already filling your cup, blocking the path to true rest. Release the expectation that your mind must be silent. Allow the mental chatter to be present, but do not engage with it. Simply observe it, like watching clouds drift across the high blue sky. They are there, but they do not define the sky itself. Release the expectation that your body must be perfectly comfortable. If there is a slight tension in your shoulder, acknowledge it, but do not struggle with the requirement that it vanish instantly. Just breathe around it. Let the sensation be part of the landscape of the present moment. With each slow, deep exhalation, imagine pouring out a small amount of the liquid of expectation. Breathe in deeply, drawing stillness into the core of your being. Breathe out slowly, releasing the thought, "I need to achieve something right now." The goal is not to achieve stillness, but to allow it. The goal is not to force relaxation, but to receive it. Focus on the weight of the cup in your imagination. It is solid, dependable, yet entirely receptive. It has no plans, it is simply a container. Your consciousness, too, can become this receptive container. Let go of the expectation of the next sound you will hear. If a sound arrives, let it enter your awareness and pass through, like a ripple across a pond that quickly settles back into glass-like calm. Do not strain to identify it or categorize it. Let go of the expectation of the next thought that will arise. When a thought surfaces, perhaps a reminder of a task left undone or a worry about the morning, simply observe it as a bubble rising to the surface and then watch it pop and disappear. Do not chase the bubble. We are practicing the art of non-attachment to the future. The future, after all, is the most profound illusion of control. We spend vast amounts of mental energy trying to manipulate events that have not yet occurred, forgetting that the only point of power, the only place where reality truly exists, is this single, luminous instant. Feel the deep, cool stillness of the empty cup. It holds the promise of refreshment, but it is entirely patient. It is not rushing the tea toward itself. Now, extend this release to the next hour. Let go of the need to know exactly how the next 60 minutes will unfold. Release the expectation that your sleep must follow a perfect, unbroken pattern. If you drift in and out of awareness, that is the rhythm of the night. If you awaken briefly, that is merely a pause in the journey. We are emptying the mind of the requirement for perfection. Perfection is a concept born of expectation, and it is the enemy of rest. Imagine taking a soft cloth, a fine, absorbent linen, and gently wiping the inside of the imaginary cup. You are removing the residue of old worries, the stains of past regrets, and the sticky film of future plans. The cloth moves slowly, deliberately, cleaning the inner surface until it gleams with a dry, matte purity. Feel the profound lightness that comes with this emptying. When the cup is empty, it is lightest. When the mind is empty of pressing demands, it is lightest. Focus on your breath now. It is the most immediate, non-negotiable reality. Your breath requires nothing of you except gentle observation. Inhale. Let the breath fill the empty space in your chest. a slow, rising tide. Exhale. Let the breath carry away the last traces of anticipation, pouring them out like water from the cup. Notice the brief, exquisite pause between the exhale and the next inhale. This is the moment of pure emptiness, the moment of perfect stillness. Linger there for just an instant, floating in the receptive silence. That pause is the most open, unburdened moment you can experience. There is no next breath required until the body asks for it. There is no next thought required until the mind spontaneously offers it. Rest in this state of pure allowance. The master, having made his point, would then gently pour the tea into a fresh, empty cup, pouring only until the liquid reached the perfect level, just below the rim. We seek that perfect level of awareness now, not overflowing with anxiety, nor completely starved of life, but held in balance. We are receptive, but not burdened. To be empty is to be ready. To be empty is to be entirely present. Allow the muscles around your eyes to soften completely. Release the small, subtle effort of looking, of scrutinizing the darkness. Let the eyes rest deeply in their sockets, heavy and unmoving. Release the tension in your jaw, allowing the teeth to separate slightly. The mouth becomes soft, the tongue resting heavily on the floor of the mouth. You are letting go of the words you might have spoken, the arguments you might have won, and the plans you might have articulated. Silence settles here. The cool, empty cup is the symbol of your present mind. It is cool because it is not heated by ambition. It is empty because it is not weighed down by expectation. We are not trying to be perfect Buddhas on a mountain peak. We are simply trying to be empty cups in a quiet room, ready to receive the peace that naturally flows when we stop demanding a specific outcome. Let the final expectation we release be the expectation of sleep itself. Sleep is a visitor. We cannot force it to arrive, but we can make the room quiet and welcoming for its arrival. We make the room quiet by stopping the internal dialogue of control. If you find yourself planning the morning, gently bring your awareness back to the cool ceramic surface of the cup. Empty. If you find yourself judging your day, gently bring your awareness back to the smooth, still texture of the cup. Release. Every time the mind becomes full, we use the image of the overflow to remind us to stop pouring. Stop pouring thought, stop pouring judgment, stop pouring future. Sink deeper now into the sensation of effortless breathing. The breath is flowing on its own, a natural, autonomous rhythm. You are simply the observer of this life-giving tide. Inhale the cool, quiet air. Exhale the warmth and the weight of what you thought needed to be done. Let the emptiness of the cup translate into an inner spaciousness. You are vast and open, a container that welcomes all. Experience without clinging to any of it. The peace you seek is not hidden in the future. It is already present in this receptive stillness. It is the natural condition of the mind when it is not struggling to be somewhere else or something else. Rest entirely in the beauty of having nothing to do, nowhere to go, and nothing to achieve. The work is done. The cup is empty. The mind is ready for profound, deep, and peaceful rest. Let the silence hold you now, the sound of the unstruck bell. The air around you is now heavy, not with tension, but with the profound, velvety weight of twilight. You have traveled far from the frantic shores of striving, resting now upon the steady, deep floor of stillness. Feel the final, residual anxieties dissolving, like smoke dissipating into the vast, cool dome of the night sky. The body is a vessel of water that has finally found its level, utterly motionless. We enter now into the phase of deep rest, guided not by sight or touch, but by the quiet, resonant hum of the world that only reveals itself when the mind truly ceases its chatter. Listen closely. The great temple bell has rung its final, reverberating note. Its bronze voice, deep and oceanic, swelled through the valley, crashed against the distant mountains, and has now, at last, completely faded. It leaves behind not emptiness, but a profound, concentrated silence. A silence so rich, so dense, that it seems to have a texture, like dark, cooling silk spread over the landscape. In this deep, enveloping quiet, the temple grounds seem to hold their breath. The wooden beams, the stone paths, the ancient moss on the roof tiles, all things seem to absorb the last echo of the sound, holding it within their structure. And as they hold the echo, a new sound begins to emerge. A sound that was always there, yet utterly obscured by the noise of the day and the volume of the great bell. It is the sound of the undisturbed. Your breath continues its slow, measured descent. Inhale, a long, quiet drawing in of the cool night air. Exhale, a complete and total release, sinking deeper into the surface beneath you. With each full cycle, the outer world recedes and the inner world opens, revealing its own subtle symphony. The first sound to pierce the vast silence is small, sharp, and intensely rhythmic. It is the chirp of a single cricket, hidden deep within the tall grasses beyond the veranda. Listen to its precise location. It is far away, perhaps near the stone wall where the ferns grow thickest. The sound is not loud, but it is clear, a tiny metallic stitch in the immense fabric of the dark. Listen to the pattern. Chirp, 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 pause, chirp. The sound does not strive to be heard, it simply is. It is the sound of nature performing its function without effort, without judgment, without ambition. It chirps because that is what it does in the cool stillness of the night. Allow your awareness to rest gently upon this sound. Do not analyze it. Do not calculate how far away it is or wonder why it chirps. Simply let the sound enter and pass through your consciousness, like a leaf floating down a slow, dark stream. The cricket's vibration is a constant, quiet reminder that even in the deepest stillness, life persists in its subtle, unforced rhythm. The sound seems to draw the mind out of its own internal loops and anchor it to the reality of the present moment, a reality that is perfectly calm and utterly complete. Hear how the sound seems to dissolve into the silence immediately after it is made. It is a series of perfect, momentary creations, each one born and dying seamlessly. It teaches us about impermanence. The sound is never held, never possessed, yet it returns again, fresh and new. Chirp, pause, chirp, chirp. Let the rhythm become part of your own internal rhythm. Feel the tiny, energetic pulse of the cricket aligning with the slowing pulse of your own being. The edges of your body soften, merging with the space around you. Now, a broader, softer sound begins to mingle with the cricket's sharp pulse. It is the gentle breath of the wind moving through the distant bamboo grove on the hill behind the temple. This is not a fierce wind, but a quiet, sibilant sigh. The sound is like 1,000 whispers, the delicate rubbing of dry leaves against polished stalks. It creates a continuous, flowing rustle, a sound that is both constant and perpetually changing. The sound of the bamboo is the sound of yielding. The stalks bend gracefully under the pressure of the air, offering no resistance. They do not fight the wind, they move with it. And in that effortless movement, they create this beautiful, soft music. Imagine the long, smooth stalks leaning, their shadows stretching and contracting in the faint moonlight. Listen to the texture of the sound. It is smooth, yet layered. It is a slow, oceanic rush, a continuous shh that washes over the temple grounds and gently over your own resting form. The bamboo sound invites you to release any lingering resistance within your own mind. If there is a thought that tries to cling, allow it to bend and flow like the bamboo. Do not hold it fast. Let the current of the mind move it onward, dissolving into the vastness of the night. The wind carries the scent of damp earth and cooling stone. The sound of the rustling is a profound lullaby, a sound of movement without effort, a sound of life perfectly aligned with the forces that guide it. We move deeper now, toward the core of this auditory stillness. The cricket continues its steady pulse, the bamboo continues its soft, flowing sigh. But now, turn your attention inward. Listen for the sound that is always present, the most intimate sound of all. It is the sound of your own life force. As the breath slows and deepens, you may begin to perceive the subtle, rhythmic pulse within your chest. It is the sound of your heartbeat, muffled and deep, steady, reliable thump, thump, that has sustained you through every moment of your existence. This is the sound of the unforced rhythm. It is a sound that requires no conscious intervention. You do not will your heart to beat, it simply does. It is the perfect example of natural functioning, of effortlessness in action. Allow your awareness to settle entirely upon this internal rhythm. Feel its steadiness, its profound patience. Each beat is a confirmation of the present moment, a perfect completion followed by a perfect beginning. The sound of the heartbeat is deeply grounding. It connects you to the physical reality of your being, which is now settling into a state of profound relaxation. The anxiety that once drove you has completely faded, replaced by this deep, resonant assurance of life itself. Listen to the blood moving softly through the vessels in your ears, a quiet, oceanic whoosh, synchronized with the beat. This internal tide is calm, slow, and continuous. Let the external sounds, the cricket, the bamboo, blend with this internal sound. They are all part of the same vast, interconnected stillness. There is no separation between the sound outside and the sound within. They are all vibrations occurring within the same field of awareness. And now, we come to the deepest teaching of the night, the quest for the sound of the unstruck bell. The great bronze bell of the temple was struck once, and its sound traveled far. But Zen teaching asks us to listen not just to the sound that is made by effort, but to the sound that exists before any effort is exerted. The unstruck bell is the silence that precedes the thought. It is the peace that exists before the desire to control arises. It is the fundamental, unstained reality of the present moment, waiting patiently beneath the surface of all striving. The Zen master would ask, "What is the sound of one hand clapping?" It is a question designed to shatter the mind's reliance on duality, on action and reaction. It points to the void, to mu, to nothingness, not as absence, but as fullness, as the source of all things. Tonight, we listen for the sound of the unstruck bell. It is not a sound you seek through strain or effort. In fact, the harder you listen, the further away it retreats. It is found only in the complete cessation of seeking. Release the effort of listening. Release the mind's need to identify the cricket or categorize the wind. Let everything dissolve back into the dark, cooling silence. Sink into the mu, the great no-thingness. Imagine the bell hanging in the dark tower. It is perfectly still, silent. It holds the potential for sound, but it is not yet vibrating. That profound, perfect silence, that potentiality, that is the unstruck bell. Rest your mind in that space of pre-sound, pre-thought. If a thought arises, simply acknowledge it as a tiny, momentary vibration, like a single droplet falling into a still pond. Do not follow the ripple. Return immediately to the stillness of the surface. The unstruck bell is the peace that requires no cause. It is the peace that is your birthright, the peace that is always already present when you cease the struggle. Feel the deep, quiet resonance of the silence itself. It is not cold or empty. It is warm, enveloping, and profoundly stable. The cricket chirps again, and the sound is now softer, further away. It is no longer an external object demanding attention, but a gentle reminder that the world continues its dance of arising and ceasing, entirely independent of your control or intervention. The bamboo sighs, a wave of soft sound washing over the land. And still, you remain anchored in the deep, central stillness. You are listening to the sound of pure awareness. As you rest in this space of mu, notice how the body responds. The muscles that were holding tension around the eyes, the jaw, the shoulders, they release their grip completely. There is nothing left to hold on to. There is nothing left to control. The illusion of control is the belief that we must strike the bell ourselves to hear the sound. But the unstruck bell reminds us that the perfect, resonant peace is already here, inherent in the silence before the striking, before the striving. Let the weight of your head sink entirely into the cushion beneath it. Feel the complete surrender of the neck and the spine. You are supported, held entirely by the earth. There is no need to guard, no need to anticipate. We are entering the true sanctuary of the night, where effort dissolves into ease. The breath is now so slow and shallow that it is almost imperceptible. A gentle rise and fall that requires no monitoring. It is simply maintaining the rhythm of life, silently and perfectly. Sink deeper into the auditory field of the night, the subtle sounds, the distant drip of water from the eaves, the soft settling of the wooden structure of the temple, the faint rhythmic movement of your own blood, all blend into one continuous, soothing hum. This hum is the sound of the universe resting. You are resting within the heart of this vast, cosmic stillness. The unstruck bell is ringing in the deepest part of your being. It is a silent, resonant peace that needs no action to be heard. It is the absence of striving, the fullness of acceptance. Let your mind become as vast and dark as the night sky visible above the temple roof. Within that vastness, the tiny stars of thought may flicker, but they do not disrupt the overwhelming silence. You are safe. You are held. You are resting in the deep knowledge that all is unfolding without your intervention. The peace of the unstruck bell is the peace of effortless existence. Release the last remnants of the day's responsibilities. They are dissolving now, carried away by the gentle rush of the bamboo wind. They are merely echoes of a sound that has already passed. Rest now in the perfect stillness of mu. Listen to the silence. It is not the absence of sound, but the presence of everything. The deep relaxation is now complete. The body is heavy, warm, and utterly still. The mind is clear, vast, and silent. Let the sound of your own quiet, steady breathing be the final assurance of peace. Inhale the deep calm. Exhale the final trace of effort. Sink, sink, sink into the profound, resonant silence of the unstruck bell. Sleep awaits you, deep and restorative, born from this cessation of striving. Rest now. There is nothing left to do. The unfolding lotus, trusting natural growth. We settle now into a deeper layer of stillness, the body resting upon the earth, the mind beginning to drift above the surface of the water. We have moved beyond the struggle of the current, finding the quiet depth where true growth occurs. There is no urgency here, no need for force, only the quiet, inevitable unfolding of what already is. Imagine the lotus seed, deep within the cool, rich mud. It does not strain upward, it does not worry about the darkness surrounding it. It simply trusts the inherent wisdom of its own nature. It allows the nourishing mud to hold it, And in that surrender, the stem begins its slow, quiet ascent toward the light. We will approach our own relaxation with this same deep trust, allowing the body to unfold without the slightest hint of effort. Begin by bringing your awareness to the central core of your body, the vast basin of your hips and the cradle of your lower back. This is where we often anchor our unconscious striving, holding the tension of movement even in stillness. But now, we invite the hips to become heavy, to become profoundly, irrevocably settled. Feel the broad expanse of your pelvis resting against the surface beneath you. It is as if you are releasing roots, not to cling, but simply to sink. Sense the weight intensifying. Imagine the very bones of your hips softening, becoming denser, melting into the supporting surface like warm wax. Notice the faint, almost imperceptible shift in pressure where your body meets the ground. With every exhalation, this pressure deepens. You are not pushing down, you are simply ceasing to hold up. The mud is soft, cool, and infinitely supportive. Allow your lower back to release its protective curve, letting the small muscles along the lumbar spine simply lengthen and spread. They have carried you through the day, but their work is done. They now have permission to rest completely. This sinking feeling travels slowly down the length of your thighs. Feel the substantial weight of your upper legs. They are heavy timbers now, anchored and unmoving. Notice the subtle internal warmth beginning to generate within the large muscles of the quadriceps and hamstrings. This warmth is not a heat of exertion, but the gentle, deep warmth of relaxation, the warmth that accompanies profound release. It spreads slowly, like honey poured over smooth stone, coating the muscle fibers and encouraging them to let go. The knees soften. There is no need for structure or rigidity. The joints are quiet pools of stillness. The warmth flows past the knees and into the calves, those muscles that propel and balance us throughout the day. Feel them slacken, becoming loose and supple. They are no longer coiled springs, they are simply resting tissue, heavy, warm, and compliant. Imagine them sinking toward the ground, settling into the shape of the surface beneath them. This wave of heaviness reaches your ankles, which become loose hinges, and flows into the soles of your feet. Your feet, which bear the full weight of your life, are now free of responsibility. Feel the faint, tingling warmth spreading across the arches and toes. Imagine each toe as a small, separate petal, slowly unfurling its grip, releasing any last residual tension. The feet are heavy, warm, and profoundly quiet. The entire lower body, from the base of the spine to the tips of the toes, is now rooted, stabilized, and deeply relaxed. It has become the silent, strong base of the lotus stem. Now, we move to the upper body, the place where we often hold the anxieties of action and responsibility. Bring your awareness to your shoulders. These broad shelves carry the burdens of the mind. Notice if there is a subtle lift, a slight bracing, a barely perceptible tension held high near the ears. Without judgment, simply observe this habitual posture. Now, invite the shoulders to descend, not with a forced drop, but with the quiet, effortless surrender of the lotus stem releasing its tension. Imagine the weight of your arms pulling the shoulders gently down and away from your ears. Feel the collarbones widening, creating space across the chest. The shoulder blades, those broad wings of cartilage and muscle, are settling flat against your back, sinking into the supporting surface. They become broad, smooth petals, beginning their slow, inevitable unfurling. The warmth that rooted your lower body now begins to radiate outward from the center of your chest and flows into your arms. Feel it travel down the length of your upper arm, softening the biceps and triceps. These muscles, too, are heavy timbers now. They are thick with weight, sinking deeply. There is no need for strength, no need to be ready to act. There is only the sweet relief of profound rest. The warmth moves past the elbows. Notice the tactile sensation of your elbows resting. They are heavy anchor points. Allow the joints to be soft, yielding, and completely unsupported by internal effort. The stillness moves into the forearms, which are now becoming substantially weighty. Feel the density of the muscle and bone sinking toward the earth. The forearms are quiet, substantial, and warm. This is the process of the lotus unfurling. The petals of the hands are beginning to open. Bring your focus specifically to your hands. They are instruments of our will, constantly grasping, typing, holding, and communicating. Now, they are simply allowed to rest. Feel the weight of the palms. Notice the subtle topography of your hands resting against the air or the surface beneath them. Allow the small, intricate muscles of the palms to soften and flatten. The tension held in the mound beneath the thumb dissolves. The warmth flows into the wrists, melting any stiffness, making the joints loose and fluid. Now, focus on each finger individually. Imagine them as delicate, separate petals, slowly spreading out from the center of the palm. Start with the thumb. Feel the substantial weight of the thumb, allowing it to fall naturally into place. It is completely quiet. Then the index finger, lengthening and relaxing. The middle finger, heavy and still. The ring finger, soft and compliant. And finally, the small finger, releasing its habitual curl, simply lying still. The hands are now profoundly relaxed. They are heavy, warm, and entirely passive. They are simply resting on the surface of the water, no longer striving to hold or to do. They are open, receptive, and utterly still. This stillness in the hands sends a message of deep peace back to the mind. The work is finished. There is nothing left to grasp. Return your awareness to the center of your chest, the heart space, the very core of the bloom. Sense the subtle, rhythmic movement of your breath here. You are not forcing the breath. You are simply allowing it to move you. Like the water gently rocking the lotus, the breath provides the quiet, sustaining rhythm. With every slow, deep inhalation, imagine the center of your chest expanding gently, like a lotus petal slowly widening. And with every quiet exhalation, feel the chest soften and settle deeper into your back. There is no effort in this expansion and contraction. It is the natural wisdom of the body sustaining itself, just as the lotus knows exactly when and how to drink the sun and the water. Release the muscles around your ribs. Often, we hold a subtle tension in the intercostal muscles, restricting the full capacity of the breath. Allow the ribs to become soft, yielding. Feel the abdomen rise and fall with a slow, gentle undulation, like the quiet surface of the pond. The abdomen is soft, expansive, and entirely free of tension. If there is a knot of worry or striving held here, simply breathe into that space, inviting the warmth and the heaviness to dissolve it. We move finally to the neck and head, the final point of release, the crown of the lotus. The neck holds the weight of the skull and the constant tension of looking forward, of anticipation. Now, allow the skull to become profoundly heavy, resting completely upon the neck. Feel the small, intricate muscles at the base of the skull begin to soften and lengthen. There is no need to hold your head straight or aligned. Simply allow its full, substantial weight to be supported by the surface beneath it. The warmth flows up the neck and begins to spread across your scalp, softening the skin, the muscles underneath. Imagine the tiny tension points on your scalp dissolving, releasing their subtle grip. The forehead smooths, the eyebrows soften and widen, releasing the habitual furrow of concentration or concern. Allow the space between your eyebrows to become vast, open, and utterly calm. The eyes, which have been ceaselessly gathering information, now sink gently back into their sockets. Feel the weight of the eyeballs resting. The eyelids are heavy, substantial curtains, gently lowered and completely at rest. There is no need to observe, no need to analyze. The eyes are quiet, dark pools of stillness. Finally, release the jaw. This is where we store the language we hold back, the arguments left unsaid, the control we cling to. Feel the substantial weight of the lower jaw. Allow the teeth to gently part, creating a small, soft space between the upper and lower rows. The muscles of the cheeks soften and drape. The tongue, that muscular instrument of speech, rests heavily and quietly on the floor of the mouth. The mouth is soft, yielding, and silent. The face is completely passive, a mask of profound rest. The entire body is now one unified field of warmth and heaviness. From the rooted feet to the quiet jaw, every muscle, every fiber, every cell is resting deeply. We have not struggled to achieve this. We have simply stopped interfering. This is the wisdom of the unfolding lotus. It does not compare itself to other flowers. It does not worry about the depth of the mud. It simply trusts the blueprint of its own being. It knows that light is inherently available, and its nature is to bloom. Your body knows how to rest. Your breath knows how to sustain you. Your heart knows how to beat. There is nothing for you to manage, nothing for you to control. Allow the illusion of control to dissolve, releasing the last small knots of effort. Settle deeper into the feeling of warmth spreading throughout your limbs. This warmth is profound, comforting, and deeply protective. You are cradled, supported, and safe. You are the lotus, perfectly still, perfectly pure, rising effortlessly from the depths of the pond. Allow the warmth to deepen the heaviness. You are sinking, sinking, sinking into a profound state of rest. The mind is quiet now, like the water surface after the wind has died down. Only the gentle, rhythmic motion of the breath remains, a soft whisper leading you deeper into the quietude of sleep. Trust the unfolding, trust the growth, trust the rest that is already yours. The gardener's patience and the seasons. The breath settles now, deepening into the quiet hollow of the chest, finding an easy rhythm that requires no effort, only surrender. Let the mind drift away from the cluttered rooms of immediate tasks and perceived necessities, and step instead onto the vast, silent expanse of a sleeping field. It is the hour just before dawn breaks fully, a time of cool, profound stillness, where the air itself feels heavy with expectation, yet utterly unhurried. You stand at the edge of this domain, a sprawling acreage of dark, rich earth that stretches out toward a horizon still blurred by mist. The darkness is not absolute. It is a velvety indigo cloak draped over the world, allowing the distant, cold light of the stars to just penetrate the atmosphere. The temperature is low, a refreshing chill that bites gently at the exposed skin of the hands and face, reminding you of the Earth's own cool inertia. This chill carries the deepest, most grounding scent imaginable, the smell of the soil itself. It is a fragrance of immense complexity, dense and damp, speaking of millennia of slow decay and rebirth. It is the scent of loam, of microbial life, of dark, nourishing silence. Inhale that scent deeply now, letting the profound, earthy aroma fill the lungs, anchoring the awareness firmly to the ground beneath your feet. This soil holds all potential, all future harvest, yet it makes no demands, rushing nothing. It simply waits, massive and patient. We observe the gardener, a figure of profound calm, already present in the field. They do not rush toward the center, nor do they frantically calculate the day's yield. Their movements are deliberate, weighted by the understanding of cycles far greater than a single lifetime. They wear simple, sturdy clothes, seemingly indistinguishable from the colors of the earth and the faded greens of last year's growth. Their attention is entirely focused on the present moment of the field. The gardener's hands brush against the low-lying cover crop, a mesh of faded straw and stubble left to protect the soil through the cold months. The touch is light, respectful. Feel the texture through their perspective, the brittle dryness of the straw contrasting sharply with the slick, cool moisture of the dew that clings to every surface. The dew is everywhere, a fine, cold mist settled upon the field, making the dark earth appear to gleam faintly under the nascent light. It beads on the rough fabric of the gardener's sleeves, transmitting a gentle, persistent coolness that sinks into the skin. This is the first lesson of the field: acceptance of the current condition. The earth is cold, wet, and heavy. It cannot be willed into warmth, nor hurried into bloom. The gardener knows that the timing of the work is dictated not by personal desire, but by the turning of the great cosmic wheel, the seasons. If we try to force summer's bounty in the midst of winter's frost, we achieve only exhaustion and failure. Breathe in the slow, inevitable reality of this moment. Where in your own life have you been attempting to force a harvest out of season? Where have you demanded a blazing sun when the world offers only quiet dew? Let the cool, damp patience of the field wash over that impatience, softening the edges of your urgency. The gardener takes up their tool, a simple, heavy hoe with a handle, polished smooth by years of use. The wood feels cool and solid in the hands, a conduit connecting human intention to the earth's resistance. There is no tension in the gardener's shoulders, only readiness. The work begins, not with a burst of energy, but with a slow, meditative rhythm. The hoe rises, catches the faint, growing light, and then descends. Thud. The sound is muffled, deep, absorbed instantly by the dense earth. Observe the way the soil parts. It does not fly up in chaotic chunks, but turns over in rich, heavy clods, revealing the black, moist interior that has been hidden from the light. Focus entirely on the sensation of this rhythmic labor. The gardener breathes out on the downstroke, a soft, audible release of air that synchronizes perfectly with the impact of the steel on the ground. Inhale as the tool lifts, exhale as it falls. This is the ancient meditation of physical work. The body moves, the mind rests, held captive by the simple, repeated action. Imagine now that you are the one holding the handle. Feel the subtle vibration that travels up the wood and into the palms with each impact. Notice the dense, slightly gritty texture of the handle, worn smooth in some places, retaining the rough grain in others. The effort required is steady, not strenuous, a sustained commitment to preparation. Each turned clod of earth releases a fresh burst of the loamy scent, richer and deeper now that the soil has been disturbed. It is the smell of profound fertility, of life waiting to ignite. The work is not about immediate satisfaction, it is about preparing the ground. The gardener knows that a seed sown in unprepared earth will struggle, but a seed sown in well-tilled, aerated soil is already halfway to flourishing. This is the wisdom of accepting the process of preparation. Before the bloom, there must be the turning. Before the harvest, the careful weeding. We often wish to jump immediately to the outcome, skipping the difficult, sometimes tedious process of turning the soil of our own minds and habits. We demand the flower without enduring the necessary darkness of the root's growth. The gardener teaches us that the quality of the stillness we achieve is directly related to the patience we invest in the tilling. As the gardener slowly works a long, straight row, the field begins to change. The surface is no longer uniform, but composed of dark, freshly turned mounds, catching the light differently. The air around them seems to vibrate with the quiet expectation of the work completed. The sun is now beginning to rise, not suddenly, but with a magnificent, slow inevitability. The eastern sky bleeds from indigo to a soft, pale rose, then gold. The mist hanging over the distant trees catches the light, glowing like spun silk. In this vast, slow moment, the illusion of control begins to dissolve. The gardener is not controlling the sunrise. They are simply aligning their efforts with its energy. They are not commanding the seed to sprout. They are merely creating the conditions for the sprouting to occur naturally. The deep understanding is this: true mastery is not controlling the outcome, but mastering the conditions. The hoe is set aside. The gardener now walks the prepared row, their stride long and unhurried. They carry a small pouch filled with seeds. These seeds are tiny, almost insignificant in the immensity of the field, yet each holds the blueprint for a complex, vibrant life. The next action is the planting, an act of profound faith and non-attachment. The gardener kneels, the cool, damp soil pressing gently against the knees. They use a finger to create a small, shallow depression in the freshly turned earth. The soil is cool, fine, and yielding to the touch. Observe the texture of the soil as it brushes against the skin, slightly gritty, immensely cool, leaving a dark stain that is the badge of honest labor. A single seed is selected from the pouch. It is small, dark, and hard. It possesses no visible beauty, no immediate promise. It is pure potential, locked within a protective casing. The seed is placed gently into the prepared bed. The gardener does not linger, does not hover, does not demand an immediate response. With a quick, smooth motion of the hand, the soil is drawn back over the seed, burying it completely in the darkness. It is gone, invisible. This is the crucial moment of surrender. The seed is now beyond the gardener's control. The moment the soil covers it, the human task is complete. The rest belongs to the earth, the rain, the sun, and the mysterious inherent intelligence of the seed itself. Reflect on this. The deepest anxiety we carry often stems from the inability to let go of the seed once it is planted. We want to dig it up tomorrow to check on its progress. We want to shout instructions down to the root. We want to force the timeline. The gardener knows this is folly. To plant is an act of trust. To plant is to accept that the most vital, foundational growth happens in the darkness, unseen and unhurried. The life force within the seed will awaken when the conditions are right, not when the gardener's patience runs out. We are reminded of the Zen master who was asked, "How do you achieve enlightenment?" He replied, "When I am hungry, I eat. When I am tired, I sleep." The actions are simple, immediate, and complete in themselves. The gardener's task is planting. The seed's task is growing. There is no confusion of roles, no attempt to control the other's natural process. The gardener rises slowly, moving to the next spot, repeating the ritual. Place the seed, cover the seed, move on. There is no attachment to the first seed planted, nor excessive anticipation for the last. Each action is whole, complete, and then released. Imagine the sheer vastness of this field, thousands upon thousands of seeds to be planted, row after deliberate row. If the gardener worried about the final harvest while planting the first seed, the task would become overwhelming, paralyzing. But the focus remains only on the single inch of earth directly beneath the hands, the single seed currently being placed. This is the secret to enduring patience, breaking the overwhelming future into manageable, complete present moments. Feel the slow, steady rhythm of your own breath now, mirroring the gardener's movements. Inhale, preparation. Exhale, release. Let the anxiety about future outcomes, the harvest you desire, fade into the background. Your task is only the breath you are taking right now, the stillness you are cultivating in this moment. The gardener completes the row. They stand back, looking over the newly planted ground. It looks exactly the same as the unplanted ground, perhaps slightly darker, but otherwise unchanged. There is no immediate reward, no instant gratification. The reward lies in the perfection of the labor itself, the integrity of the preparation. The field teaches us about seasons. Our lives, too, move through cycles. There are seasons of planting, which require hard work, focus, and preparation. These are the moments of deep, often invisible effort. There are seasons of waiting, where the external world seems quiet and nothing much appears to be happening, yet beneath the surface, profound transformations are occurring. And there are seasons of harvest, where the fruits of long-forgotten efforts finally become visible. If you are currently in a season of planting, accept the work. Do not demand the harvest. If you are in a season of waiting, accept the stillness. Do not try to force the bloom. The anxiety of control comes from insisting that the current season be a different one. Look at the gardener. They accept the cool, damp spring air. They understand that the heat of summer will arrive precisely when it is meant to, not a moment sooner. They do not rage against the calendar. They align themselves with the immutable flow of time. This acceptance fosters a deep sense of peace. When we cease fighting the natural cycle, our energy, which was previously consumed by resistance and worry, flows back into us, becoming a source of calm strength. The gardener takes a final, deep inhale of the rich, dark earth. The scent is now mingled with the faint, clean smell of the rising sun. They have done all that can be done. The tools are set down gently. The field is left to its own intelligence. There is no lingering, no second guessing. The gardener walks away with the quiet confidence of one who has performed their duty completely. The work is not forgotten, but it is released from the urgency of the mind. Imagine walking away from your own anxieties and demands for immediate results with this same quiet confidence. You have planted the seeds of intention in your own life, the efforts toward growth, understanding, and peace. Now, trust the darkness. Trust the process. Feel the space opening up within your chest as you release the need to. Constantly check on the outcome. The energy of the field is one of deep, enduring stability. It is the stability of something that is not trying to be anything other than what it is. Earth, waiting for life. Let the final image be the vast, quiet field, shimmering faintly in the early morning light. The seeds rest in the deep, cool darkness, utterly safe, utterly assured of their eventual emergence. The air is cool, clean, and silent, holding the promise of the inevitable future with perfect patience. Allow your body to sink deeper into the surface supporting you, accepting the current season of rest. The work of the day is done, the seeds are planted. Now is the season of stillness. The breath continues its slow, steady rhythm, anchoring you to this moment of profound, quiet acceptance. You are fully present, completely unhurried, resting in the wisdom of the gardener's patience. The moon's reflection, the self as a mirror. The darkness around you now is not an absence, but a presence, the deep, velvet quiet of midnight. You are standing, or perhaps floating, beside a vast, placid pool, hidden beneath the canopy of ancient, sleeping trees. The air is cool and soft against your skin, carrying the faint, earthy scent of moss and cool stone. Let your awareness settle entirely into this moment, allowing the weight of your body to sink deeply into whatever surface supports it. Release the muscles in your jaw, soften the space between your eyebrows, and allow your shoulders to melt away from your ears. We have arrived at the hour of the moon's reflection. Look down now, without effort, at the surface of the pool before you. It is a mirror of polished jet, so still that it seems less like liquid and more like solidified silence. Above, suspended in the immense black dome of the sky, is the moon. It is full tonight, a disk of luminous, ancient silver, pouring its quiet light down upon the earth. And in the water, perfectly inverted, lies the moon's reflection. Observe this reflection. It is whole, pristine, and perfectly formed. Every soft contour, every subtle shadow on the lunar surface is captured with unwavering fidelity by the water below. The moon itself, high in the heavens, represents reality, the truth of your inherent nature, always complete, always luminous, always whole. It does not need to strive, it simply is. The water, the deep, silent pool, represents your mind. When the water is utterly still, when the slightest breath of striving or worry has ceased, the reflection is perfect. There is no distortion, no fragmentation. The mind, when calm, does not create its own image. It simply receives the truth of what is. The luminous wholeness of the moon is effortlessly displayed in the spacious stillness of the water. Take a slow, deep breath, and as you exhale, imagine that breath is a subtle ripple passing harmlessly away from the surface of the pool. Let your internal striving, the impulse to fix, to control, to worry about tomorrow, dissolve. You do not need to hold the moon in place. You do not need to polish the water. The moon is whole regardless of your effort. Feel the profound ease of this realization. Your true self, your inherent nature, is like the moon, unbreakable, untarnishable, eternally complete. The anxiety, the fear, the need for control, these are merely the ripples on the surface of the water, temporary disturbances that obscure the view. They do not diminish the moon itself. As you gaze into the mirrored image, allow your physical body to become incredibly heavy. Feel the deep, anchoring pull of gravity. Your legs, your hips, your torso, they are sinking, becoming one with the yielding surface beneath you. With every slow, deliberate exhale, you release another layer of tension, another tiny, clinging thought. The darkness around the pool is vast, and the silence is deeper than you have ever known. In this profound quiet, the mind begins to recognize its own nature as stillness. It is not the thoughts that rush through it. It is the space through which the thoughts move. It is the water itself, waiting patiently for the movement to cease. Now, imagine a tiny, almost imperceptible breeze begins to move across the surface of the water. It is the lightest breath of air, perhaps the stirring of a sleeping dragonfly's wing. The perfect, inverted circle of the moon's reflection begins to shimmer. It stretches, fragments, elongates into 1,000 dancing lines of silver light. The image of wholeness is momentarily shattered into myriad pieces, dazzling and chaotic. This is the mind engaged in striving. This is the moment when you try to grasp or change reality. A tiny worry, a small attachment, a fleeting memory of yesterday's frustration. These are the subtle breezes that ripple the water. The reflection is lost. Yet, look up. The moon remains exactly as it was, whole, serene, untouched by the agitation below. The Zen master teaches, do not try to stop the ripples. That effort itself is a ripple. If you fight the disturbance, you create more disturbance. If you try to force stillness, you introduce effort, which is the very opposite of rest. Instead, simply observe the ripples. Watch the light break and dance. Acknowledge the brief, frantic scattering of the image. And then, do nothing. Do not intervene. Do not judge the water for being rippled. Simply wait. Let the natural law of gravity, the inherent inertia of the water, take over. Slowly, inevitably, the surface tension begins to reassert itself. The dancing lines of silver light begin to coalesce. The fragments draw back together. The surface smooths, one microscopic layer at a time. With the calming of the water, the wholeness of the reflection returns. It is effortless. It is inevitable. It simply is. Let the metaphor settle deeply into your consciousness. Your anxiety, your striving for control, your fear of imperfection, These are merely the temporary breezes on the pool of your mind. They cannot touch the inherent wholeness of your being. You are the moon, and you are also the water. You are the spaciousness that holds both the perfect reflection and the momentary fragmentation. Focus entirely now on the sensation of your breath. It is the anchor that binds you to this moment of stillness. Inhale, a slow, gentle drawing in of the cool night air. Exhale, a complete, yielding release. With each exhale, imagine the water of your mind becoming smoother, deeper, more silent. Inhale, spaciousness. Exhale, stillness. Feel the weight of your eyelids, soft and heavy. Feel the gentle rise and fall of your chest, a movement so subtle it barely disturbs the deep calm within. You are entering a state of profound non-doing. There is nothing left to achieve, nothing left to fix, nothing left to guard against. The moon's light is not harsh. It is soft, silver, and utterly accepting. Imagine this light pouring down, not just onto the pool, but directly into the center of your chest, filling your interior space with a cool, luminous clarity. This light illuminates the vast, empty spaciousness within you. This spaciousness is your true nature. It is the ground of being that remains untouched by the drama of the surface. Let us explore this spaciousness further. Imagine that you are no longer standing beside the pool, but that you have become the pool itself. You are vast, deep, and infinitely receptive. The sky, the stars, the moon, all of reality is reflected within your depth. If a thought arises, a worry about a deadline, a memory of a past slight, it is like a tiny pebble dropping into the water. It creates a small, sharp disturbance, a quick flash of fragmentation. But because you are vast, the ripple quickly dissipates. The depth of your being absorbs the shock without effort. The surface returns to stillness immediately. You do not chase the pebble, you do not analyze the ripple. You simply remain the deep, still water. This is the freedom from the illusion of control. You cannot stop the world from dropping pebbles, but you can choose to be so deep and so vast that the impact is negligible. Feel the muscles around your eyes releasing completely. Allow your tongue to rest heavily in your mouth. Let your jaw hang slack. The tension you were holding, that subtle, physical manifestation of the need to control, is now dissolving into the immense quiet. We often believe that our true self is the reflection we see when the water is rippled, the fragmented, fearful, striving self. But this is merely the surface confusion. Your true self is the water itself, the deep, silent, receptive capacity to reflect reality without distortion. Rest in that capacity now. Allow the gentle, repetitive rhythm of your breathing to become the only movement in your world. The air flows in, cool and clean. The air flows out, carrying away every last trace of resistance. Inhale, accepting the light. Exhale, sinking into the depth. The silver light of the reflection seems to grow stronger now, not because the moon is brighter, but because the water is so impeccably still. This is the inner realization. When the mind is fully at rest, its inherent brilliance, the wisdom and peace that were always there, shines forth naturally. There is a profound sense of yielding now. You are yielding to the chair, the bed, the earth. You are yielding to the night. You are yielding to the silence. And most importantly, you are yielding to the truth that you are already whole. There is no task remaining. The moon is full. The reflection is perfect. Imagine the coolness of the water rising up to meet you, enveloping you in a deep, dark calm. This is the ultimate comfort of non-resistance. You are supported entirely by the vast, silent space of the night. Let the final, clinging threads of your day unravel. The conversations, the decisions, the internal arguments, they are all subtle ripples that have long since faded. What remains is the vast, dark clarity of the pool. We often spend our lives trying to control the reflection, trying to force the image to be perfect, trying to push away the ripples. But the path of peace is simply to stop the effort, to let the water settle naturally. If a small, anxious thought attempts to rise now, greet it not with resistance, but with vastness. See it as a tiny bubble rising from the deep. Watch it reach the surface, pop silently, and disappear. It leaves no lasting trace on the infinite stillness below. You are moving beyond the surface concerns now, drifting down into the deep, quiet foundation of your being. This depth is inherently peaceful. It has no need for control because it recognizes that everything that occurs is temporary, a fleeting movement on an eternal canvas. Feel the relaxation deepening in your core. Your heart rate is slow and steady, a gentle drumbeat in the immense silence. Your breathing is shallow and effortless, the bare minimum required for life, reflecting the minimum effort required for peace. The moon's reflection is the ultimate assurance of your completeness. If the water of your mind is calm for even a moment, the truth is revealed. You are whole. And because you are whole, you are already safe. You are already enough. Allow this profound sense of spaciousness to expand throughout your entire being. Your physical boundaries are softening, melting into the dark, cool air. You are the space, the silence, the receptive mirror. Rest deeply now in the simple, overwhelming perfection of this moment. The moon is shining, the water is still, and you are perfectly, profoundly at peace. Sink further, yielding completely to the support beneath you, letting the darkness cradle you gently toward the deepest, most restorative sleep. The vast, still mirror of your mind is ready to receive the silence of the night. Exhibitions. The final surrender to gravity. The journey has carried us through the tangled thickets of effort and striving, through the wide, clear meadows of acceptance, and now we stand at the very threshold of the deep, silent forest. This is the final surrender, the moment when the mind consciously acknowledges its own exhaustion and chooses to relinquish its post. We are not merely resting, we are yielding to the fundamental, irresistible truth of the universe, the constant, patient pull of gravity. Feel this profound, ancient force now. It is not a burden, it is the ultimate support. Gravity holds the stars in their orbits, and it holds your body safe and secure upon this resting surface. There is no need to hover, no need to maintain tension, no need to perform the smallest act of suspension. You are invited, entirely and without condition, to sink. Let your awareness drift down, following the path of your own weight. Begin at the crown of the head, a point that often holds a subtle, residual stiffness, a tiny, unnecessary effort to keep the skull balanced. Allow the muscles at the base of the neck to soften so completely that the head feels like a perfectly weighted stone, resting immovably upon the pillow. Feel the subtle texture of the fabric beneath the skin of your cheek, the faint coolness of the cotton, or the smooth, insulating warmth of the silk. Notice the small, shallow indentation your weight has created in the material, a perfect cradle formed just for you. The weight continues its descent, pooling now in the broad expanse of the shoulders. These powerful structures, built for carrying the burdens of the day, are now utterly unemployed. Imagine the shoulder blades spreading wide, like slow, heavy wings folding inward. Feel the collarbones slacken, the tension draining out through the tips of the fingers. The arms lie heavy at your sides or draped across the covers. Trace the dense, solid weight of the upper arm, the slight compression of the bicep against the mattress, and the way the elbow rests, a distinct point of pressure, fully supported. The hands, Those instruments of ceaseless doing are now utterly undone. The palms are open or gently curled. The muscles between the thumb and forefinger, the grip of control, are now soft, yielding, and without purpose. The fingertips feel cool and slightly heavy, resting lightly upon the surface of the sheet. Notice the faint warmth emanating from the covers, a gentle, insulating heat that surrounds the arms and hands, creating a small, private climate of comfort. This warmth is the embrace of stillness. Direct your attention to the central mass of the body, the core of your being. The pelvis, the largest and heaviest bone structure, sinks deepest into the mattress. Feel the profound density of this area. The lower back, which may have held persistent tension, begins to flatten and widen, finding its complete rest. The mattress yields beneath, this concentrated weight, offering a reciprocal support that is firm yet gentle. This feeling of being utterly held is the physical manifestation of safety. There is nothing left to hold up. Sense the warmth that has gathered beneath the covers. It is not a sudden sharp heat, but a slow, pervasive warmth that has been accumulating, radiating back from the body and being trapped by the fibers of the blanket. Feel this warmth against the skin of your thighs, a velvety sensation of contact. The legs are heavy, extending outward from the hips, each limb a column of dense, resting matter. Follow the weight down to the calves, where the muscles are now soft and elongated. Finally, rest your attention upon the heels. Often, these are the last points of contact that maintain a subtle tension, a readiness to move. Now, allow the heels to press down, not with effort, but with the sheer force of gravity. Feel the small, distinct pressure points where the bone meets the mattress. Even the small bones of the feet and the delicate arch of the ankles are surrendering. Every single cell in your body is acquiescing to the downward pull. You are sinking, 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 like a stone lowered gently into clear, cool water. As the body achieves this profound physical stillness, the time has come to address the final, subtle threads of mental control. Often, the mind holds on to a few strands of effort, a vague sense that we must manage the transition into sleep, or that we must ensure we let go correctly. This final effort is the last illusion that must dissolve. Imagine these threads of mental striving, the planning, the reviewing, the subtle self-monitoring, as fine, white, granulated sugar. Picture this sugar resting delicately upon the surface of warm, still water. The water is the deep, encompassing silence of the present moment. Observe the process. When the sugar first touches the water, it may seem distinct, separate, holding its form. But slowly, inevitably, the warm water begins its quiet work. The edges of the grains soften. The distinct shape blurs. The sugar does not resist. It does not fight to remain granular. It simply allows the warmth to penetrate. See the grains of mental effort dissolving, becoming liquid, becoming colorless. The sweetness of effort is absorbed entirely into the vast, clear body of the water. It vanishes without a trace, not destroyed, but transformed and integrated. There is no longer a distinct effort. There is only the medium of stillness. This is the meaning of non-striving, of wu wei. We are not trying to force the mind to be quiet. We are simply withdrawing the energy that fuels the noise. We are releasing the final intention to control the outcome of the night. Think of the old Zen parable of the two monks who were arguing fiercely about a fluttering flag. One monk insisted, "The flag is moving." The other countered, "No, the wind is moving." Their master, hearing their dispute, gently interjected, "It is neither the flag nor the wind that is moving. It is your minds that are moving." Now, in this moment of final surrender, We cease moving the mind. We allow the flag to hang slack, the wind to settle, and the mind to rest, unengaged by the spectacle of its own thoughts. The breath responds to this complete dissolution of effort. It becomes the softest, most minimal rhythm, a gentle tide touching the shore of consciousness. The breath is no longer something you do, it is something that happens. Feel the air entering the nostrils. It is so faint now that the sensation is almost lost. It is a whisper of coolness, a barely perceptible current. It traces a shallow path down the throat and into the chest. The movement of the diaphragm is minimal, a gentle rocking motion deep within the core. As the breath leaves the body, it takes with it the last remnants of effort and residue. The exhale is long, smooth, and utterly passive. It is the soundless sigh of complete release. Focus on the space between the breaths. This space, the pause after the exhale and before the need for the inhale, begins to widen. It is a vast, calm lake, perfectly still. This is the heart of the surrender. In this pause, there is no past, no future, and no control needed. There is only the deep, silent presence of the body resting. Imagine the body now as an ancient, hollow log floating on the surface of a placid river. The log is heavy, waterlogged, sinking deeply into the current. It is carried effortlessly by the stream. It does not need to paddle, it does not need to steer, it does not need to worry about its destination. The river, the flow of life and gravity handles everything. You are that log. You are heavy, supported, and moving without effort into the deep, quiet flow of the night. Let us explore the texture of the support one final time, confirming the depth of this physical surrender. Feel the way the mattress conforms to the specific curve of your spine. Notice the warmth beneath the small of your back, trapped heat pressing gently upward. The weight of the blanket rests evenly across the length of your body, a distributed pressure that feels less like weight and more like a comforting embrace. This even distribution eliminates isolated tension. If you are lying on your side, feel the entire length of the lower flank pressing into the mattress, a long, continuous line of contact and surrender. The hip bone, the rib cage, the shoulder, all are resting, forming a solid, unwavering connection to the ground beneath. If you are lying on your back, feel the symmetry of the release. The left side and the right side are equally heavy, equally supported, equally at peace. There is no imbalance, no striving toward one side or the other. You are centered in the core of your own stillness. The eyes are heavy behind their lids, the muscles of the face completely slack. The jaw is loose, the tongue resting heavily in the floor of the mouth. Even the tiny muscles around the eyes, which often hold tension from staring or focusing, are now released. The face is smooth, unlined, reflecting the inner peace of the surrendered mind. We dissolve the final mental boundary, the distinction between the self and the support. You are not a body resting on a bed. You are the entirety of the weight and the support, fused in stillness. This is the final conscious act of non-doing. It is the realization that true strength lies not in continuous effort, but in the profound ability to release. Like a taut bowstring, the mind and body have been held in tension throughout the day. Now the string is unhooked. It is slack, silent, and free. The breath continues its soft, rhythmic wave. Inhale, a gentle rising. Exhale, a complete, passive falling away. The rhythm is becoming slower, deeper, almost imperceptible to the conscious mind. It is simply the function of life maintaining itself, without the need for your supervision. Allow the thoughts that arise now to be like the last, slow bubbles rising from the depths of a stirred jar of water. They rise slowly, reach the surface, and pop soundlessly, leaving no residue. Do not engage them, do not judge them. Simply observe their final, gentle dissolution. The world outside is receding. The sounds of the night, if they exist, are distant, muffled, and entirely irrelevant to this inner sanctuary. They are merely the texture of the silence, confirming the depth of your retreat. You are sinking deeper now than ever before. The warmth is enveloping, the support is absolute. The mind is clear, soft, and utterly willing to rest. The control is gone. The effort is gone. There is only the vast, heavy, peaceful presence of the body resting, carried by gravity, moving toward the deep, restorative currents of sleep. You have reached the threshold. You are ready to let go of the last conscious thread and drift into the profound silence of unconsciousness. Let the final image be one of complete, effortless floating. You are suspended perfectly between the gentle rhythm of the breath and the absolute stillness of the earth beneath you. Rest now. There is nothing left to do. Drifting on the calm sea of sleep. The journey inward is complete. We have navigated the turbulent waters of expectation and acknowledged the gentle futility of trying to grasp the wind. Now, the anchor is raised, not because we are moving toward a specific destination, but because we recognize the perfection of simply being adrift. Let the mind become the horizon, vast, formless, and unbounded. Release the rudder of worry. This moment holds no demands, no deadlines, only the soft, profound invitation of silence. Feel the subtle energy of resistance dissolving like salt in the sea. We are preparing to step onto the final raft, moving toward the deep, restorative darkness where all effort ceases and true rest begins. The final veil descends, soft and absolute. You are no longer standing on the shore, anxiously watching the waves crash. You are the vessel itself, gently cradled by the vast, quiet expanse of the deep ocean. This is the calm sea of sleep, a boundless reservoir of stillness stretching out in every direction, immense and utterly unperturbed. Feel the profound, luxurious sensation of weightlessness beginning to settle into every fiber of your being. The anchor chains of daily concern have been severed, and the ballast of self-importance has been released. There is nothing beneath you but the yielding, supportive liquid darkness, and nothing above you but the equally profound, velvet blackness of a sky without stars. This is the space where effort dissolves completely. Notice how your body, once a collection of separate tensions, now merges into a single, unified mass, heavy yet floating. Imagine the spine sinking slightly, the shoulders dissolving into the water beneath, the hips settling deeply, finding a perfect point of balance. The sea does not ask you to swim, it asks only that you surrender. It holds you effortlessly, completely, without judgment or condition. The water is not cold, nor is it warm. It is the perfect neutral temperature, the temperature of pure acceptance, mirroring the inner quietude you have cultivated. It is a vast, cooling balm spread across the skin, dissolving the subtle heat generated by the day's anxieties. Feel the water touching the back of your neck, a delicate, feather-light pressure that reminds you that you are entirely supported. There is no sound here, except perhaps the slow, rhythmic pulse of the ocean itself, a deep, subsonic hum that resonates with the slow, steady rhythm of your own breath. Inhale, and the subtle rise lifts you imperceptibly. Exhale, and the gentle fall settles you deeper into the liquid cradle. This is the only movement in the universe right now, the dance between your breath and the boundless sea. Let your awareness drift to the surface of the water immediately surrounding you. It is perfectly smooth, undisturbed by wind or current. It is a mirror reflecting the absence of light, a canvas of pure, enveloping darkness. This darkness is not empty, it is full of peace. It is the darkness before thought, the darkness of profound rest. In this boundless dark, the illusion of control finally vanishes without a trace. There is no shore visible, no lighthouse beam to steer toward, no compass to consult. The very idea of direction becomes meaningless. You are not going anywhere, and in this cessation of movement you find ultimate arrival. The mind, which constantly seeks landmarks and goals, is finally relieved of its duty. It can rest. You understand now the old Zen teaching: when you are not seeking, you are found. Here, on the calm sea, there is nothing to seek. There is only the continuous, gentle reassurance of the floating. Allow the weight of your eyelids to become immense, sealing out the final vestiges of the outer world. Let the muscles around your eyes melt, softening the brow, smoothing the space between the eyebrows, the place where concentration often resides. Imagine the sea beneath you is not water, but pure, liquid silence. It supports you with infinite patience. Feel the subtle energy of your jaw relaxing, the tongue resting heavily in the mouth, the lips parted just slightly, allowing the breath to flow in and out with absolute ease, without friction or effort. The gentle, rhythmic rocking motion of the sea becomes the most profound lullaby. It is so slow, so subtle, that it is almost imperceptible. Yet it is constant. Rock to the left, rock to the right. It is the motion of the universe breathing, and you are part of that immense, slow inhalation and exhalation. This rocking is the final physical manifestation of letting go. Every tiny muscle that was holding tension, every small worry clinging to the edges of your mind is gently shaken loose by this slow, oceanic sway. Focus on the space where your thoughts used to reside. It is now vast and open, like the sky above the dark sea. If a stray thought, like a distant, faint ripple, attempts to cross this surface, do not engage it. Do not try to analyze it or chase it to its origin. Simply observe it as it passes, allowing it to dissolve back into the silence, like mist rising from the cool water and vanishing into the night air. The control you once sought was merely the desperate attempt of the ego to feel safe in an unpredictable world. Now, you realize true safety is found not in steering the ship, but in trusting the ocean. The ocean is vast, and you are small. But the ocean is also infinitely capable of holding you. Your weight is insignificant to its expanse. Your worry is microscopic to its timeless nature. Sink deeper now into the feeling of profound yielding. Yield your control over your breath. It breathes itself. Yield your control over your heart rate. It beats itself. Yield your control over your thoughts. They cease themselves when they are not fed by attention. This is not apathy. This is liberation. The darkness is now absolute, enveloping you completely. It is a darkness that is nourishing, protective, and restorative. It is the darkness of the seed before it sprouts, the darkness of the deep earth, the darkness of the womb. It is the original, untroubled state of being. Feel the boundaries of your body beginning to soften and blur at the edges, merging with the texture of the liquid silence around you. You are no longer separate from the sea. You are the sea. You are the stillness. You are the profound, expansive rest. Imagine the gentle, constant pressure of the water supporting the heels of your feet, the calves, the back of the knees. This pressure is the final reassurance. You are held. You do not need to hold yourself up. Let the mind become like the surface of the water, perfectly flat and unmoving. If a sensation arises, a slight itch, a momentary shift in temperature, it is only a tiny ripple that quickly smooths itself out. Do not allow the ripple to become a wave. Observe the sensation, acknowledge its presence without judgment, and then let it dissipate back into the vast calm. We have traveled far from the anxious shores of daylight concerns. The memory of the shore, the demands, the deadlines, the expectations, is now so distant that it is merely a faint whisper, easily drowned out by the immense silence of the sea. There is no need to look back, and no need to strain forward. The weight of your hands is dissolving. The fingers are soft, slightly curled, resting without effort. Feel the heavy, supportive stillness moving up your arms, relaxing the elbows, softening the forearms, until the hands feel as if they are simply floating, suspended in the cool, deep liquid. This boundless sea is the embodiment of non-attachment. It neither holds on to the light of the day nor resists the darkness of the night. It simply is. Emulate this perfect state of being. Do not attach to wakefulness and do not attach to the desire for sleep. Simply rest in the perfect moment of floating, suspended between effort and release. The Zen masters speak of the great death before the great awakening. This is the small death of the ego, the letting go of the self that believes it must manage every outcome. You are surrendering the tiller, handing over the navigation to the immense, timeless wisdom of the universe, which flows through your breath and cradles your body. The rhythm slows further now, the rocking becomes almost imperceptible, the sound of the deep water almost silent. You are crossing the threshold where sensation fades and awareness softens. Your breath is now the softest whisper, deep and full, yet requiring absolutely no conscious effort. Follow the air as it enters the nostrils, cool, subtle. Follow the air as it leaves the nostrils, warm, gentle. Count 5 more breaths, the slowest, deepest breaths you have ever taken, allowing the count to fade into the background, merely a gentle anchor to the present moment. 1. The profound stillness holds you. 2. The weightlessness deepens. 3. The mind yields completely to the darkness. 4. You are drifting, drifting, drifting. 5. Release the count, release the breath, release the effort. You are now floating on the very edge of awareness. The sea of sleep is waiting to envelop you entirely. There is no need to push, no need to pull. Simply allow yourself to sink, gently, effortlessly, into the profound depth beneath you. The darkness is now so close that it feels like the inside of your own mind. It is warm, comforting, and utterly peaceful. Let the final remnants of consciousness dissolve into this enveloping void. There is no more you and the sea. There is only the floating. There is only the deep, restorative peace. Sink now, sink completely into the boundless, calm, dark sea of sleep. There is only rest. There is only silence. There is only peace. You are held. You are safe. You are drifting, drifting, drifting into the deepest, most restorative sleep.